Hi, my name is Sally Bernard, an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer. Welcome to Call Me Zena, a true story into the spiritual realms. Join me as I sit and discuss the journey of self-discovery, and with the help of my spirit guides, it's time to trust your intuition. Sit with me and call in live 888-994-4995 Studio A. And now onto the show. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to my show. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate my audience because without my questions, there would be no show. So here we go. Welcome to everybody in the studio too. It's question time.
You want to talk about your book?
And yes.
Maybe the origins of Question Time?
Camera on my book. Okay, Call Me Zena. You will read a lot about what happened to me and how this all came about. Obviously, the people that are in tune with my show every week, they kind of know my story a little bit by now. But for anybody new who is just tuning in, I have a book out, Call Me Zena. It's also an ebook. It's on Amazon. You can go to Amazon and buy it, or you can also go to Author House, who published the book for me. It tells you a lot about my story. It also gives you artwork in here too. And the good thing about it is that I am on this show every week. So as you're reading and you have a question that maybe you want to ask me, just call into the show here and I'll answer it on the air. You don't have to give your name necessarily, but I am open to any questions. Again, for my viewers that know me, they know I work very well with my spirit guides when they're asked questions, because the questions actually go to them because I get the answers. So it's Call Me Zena. It's an ebook too, and Amazon will have it. If you go to the page, Call Me Zena, and there you go. There's my story.
Should we open up to a page?
I was actually going to maybe not do that today, but we will. I have.
Wasn't going to do that.
No, but I am going to, as since you asked, that was the question. Yes, I will. Again, if anybody that watched last week's show, that was crazy. You opened it actually on the date. I think it was 12 years ago that I had wrote it. Yeah. The other thing I also do want to mention, I am on Facebook where the majority of my audience goes, but please, they don't keep my recordings that long anymore, Facebook. So if you go into YouTube, Sally Bernard, Call Me Zena, the shows are there with the back recordings too. So I recommend anybody that wants to listen to this on a record, they're all there, the shows. Because Facebook, I believe, is only doing it for like a month going back.
Yes, everybody's affected with that. All these shows are 30 days long, but you can apply to have them put back if you wish.
Yeah, I think it would be simpler though if they just go into YouTube, because we've got the whole recordings
That's
there.
exactly
right?
why they did it. Yeah.
Yeah. So please tune into YouTube.
Call Me Zena.
Call Me Zena, and also like it if you like it, which I'm sure you do because you're tuning in now.
How do you buy this book?
Amazon or Author House. Then just go in there to Amazon, you'll see Call Me Zena, and if you can also get the ebook. It will show my drawings. I have many pieces of my art in there too. And also my website, which we'll talk more about that at the end of the show, because I kind of get into a trance now. So let me read my first poem here. It's okay, let's do this. This was November the 4th. Wrote to that day. Another great and beautiful day. Let us give thanks as we awake. What lies ahead? Give thanks. We are blessed. What more do we need? Maybe we can't see, maybe we can't hear, maybe we are frail. It is all but a miracle. Here we are. We were born. What a joy. Look to this day with hope, joy, and awareness. What a blessing. Look up way beyond the stars and give thanks. There is so much that lies ahead. Do not give up on this journey. Learn, think, see. Look around you. Help those who need you. They are crying out, listen, listen, listen. And I think that's really appropriate. I wrote that in 2006, but we really need that now. We really do.
There's a lot to do with the show today and dealing with...
Yes.
Why don't you tell us what today's show is
Well,
about?
basically, you have some questions from people. It's about turning a negativity into positivity, because I often do talk about that, as you know, the people that have been watching on my show. You go through a problem and you think, oh my gosh, this is awful. But sometimes, and I also look back on my life too, where I see that negativity that happened to me, though I may not have even been aware, whilst you're going through it, it's bad. We all get that. But if you can look, let's say, on the brighter side of that, eventually we can change our attitude with it. And many times, I'm not saying always, but many times we can see basically why that happened to us and the reasons behind it when we start getting a positivity out of that same situation. I mean, every situation is slightly different, and we have some questions here that people are asking, but you can do that. I look back now on my life, and if I go back 12, 14 years when I arrived in the country before that, and I didn't know from day to day what was happening to me, and I'm thinking, why did I put myself through that? I did. However, look where I am today, and I often say, not even thinking about that, I'm glad I went through a lot of those experiences. It wasn't easy, it was very tough and very hard, but would I have been who I am today with all this learning? Because you know, they call it rock bottom. When you reach that rock bottom, which is negativity, of course, because you're going through a lot, you look up, because there really is nowhere else to go at that point other than to see the positivity of a situation. So that's how I would describe what the show is a little bit about today. And I know you have questions from people.
I do. This is really difficult to manage because there's a lot of issues that people are expressing.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of them are looking for guidance on how to resolve the issue, which isn't the full impact of what you're trying to accomplish.
Right.
You're trying to explain that there is a silver lining to anything, at least in learning. So let me give you the first one. Rachel Brown from here in Florida. How can I manage my anxiety and fear after experiencing a recent setback in my relationship? Now, we had a lot of relationship questions. We tried to pick out the best ones.
Unfortunately, a lot of anxiety and fear are also on the plus side that can turn out beautifully. But we all have our inner fears of certain things. The way, you know, it's not an overnight thing. You can't suddenly, if you have all this anxiety, suddenly be okay. Although you will be okay. And I think the best thing to do with that, no matter what, basically, again, it's like if you hit your rock bottom and you have this anxiety and depression, always know to yourself and say to yourself, there is a way out of this. It doesn't always seem like that when it's happening. And of course, with anxiety, many people get depressed. But what it does, it sets certain things off in your brain. So it's like a vicious circle. You're doing something and it's pulling you down. And in order to get out of that, and I talk a lot about this too, just not for the show, try to see positivity in something. And it's difficult. It's not easy, especially when you're at that point in your life. But say to yourself, one expression is, this too shall pass. That's very good too. As you're going through it, this too shall pass. Make a list of the certain things that's happening to you. It'll change if you change your thoughts towards the situation. Instead of it going deeper into, let's say, a dark hole, say to yourself, I'm going to pull myself out of this, whatever the situation is at the time. Fake it till you make it. I love that expression too, because that also helps. Fake it. Say, this is working out for me. This is going to be all right. Not easy, but it does change. Change your thoughts and things will happen.
Well, in Rachel's case, how does she relate to other people, her job, everyday living, just going grocery shopping when she's so depressed and she's not looking at the other side of any relationship?
I think when we get to that point, and I also do believe in therapy and talking things out. So I'm not a therapist. I've been doing this for many years. I can tell you on a spiritual side what we should do, and absolutely it does work if you believe it works. But when you get to a point that maybe you don't want to leave your home or you don't want to go grocery shopping, we do need outside help. This is really weird how my voice goes, always on the show here.
You know, a prime example of turning a negative situation into a positive one happened to us personally back in October of 23 when I was diagnosed with cancer. And you know, I was scared. I was very scared because you hear a lot of horror stories. And but when we met with the oncologist, and he said, you have it, but we'll cure it, and that's all there is to it. And I looked at you, and I looked at him. I started to cry from happiness. And we went through whatever we went through, but it became a very positive situation.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about, Steve. unfortunately, and I'm not criticizing doctors at all. I mean, they're people, they have their own ways of telling you about things. But unfortunately, many doctors today, and there are certain cancers that I know because my daughter died from cancer, that are actually incurable. And they kind of know to the day that you're going to pass. And one was what my daughter had, which was brain cancer. And unfortunately, you know, they told her that she had 6 months. And basically nearly 6 months to the day she passed away. Because they look at it a certain way. But I also watch, you know, Gaia, which has very, very positive programs on cancer or on any disease, and they all say the same thing. Believe you're going. It doesn't always work because your path might be, we choose when we're going to. That's also another subject, but we do kind of choose our time. But just think to yourself, you are going to be okay. What's the worst thing that can happen? It's not working right away. But what you tell yourself, I truly believe happens. And if you're constantly complaining about something, and I was watching a program yesterday on your cells, it was amazing. I talk about this so much, but I never really, I guess part of me was only listening because I don't know it all. But the part that I really needed to hear, which I've probably heard before, but it really sunk in. As we talk, our body is full of cells, and our cells are we're listening. Not everyone has to believe this, but I totally do, because I've seen so many stories, especially on Gaia TV, where doctors are saying they've chosen alternative medicine, a lot of them, that you're basically willing yourself to get better. And if you tell yourself that, you're not alone talking to yourself. Forget maybe the cells, I understand that much more than I did, but you have spirit guides, they're also helping. But if you keep going deeper and deeper and deeper into that depression, it's harder and harder to pull yourself out of it. For me, in my belief system, this works. Try to see positivity in dark days. It's very important, and it just gave me that message very strongly just now.
I think that you and Steve, I mean, I'm glad that you're gone bad, past the bad stuff. But I think that the two of you having to rely on one another. I think, Steve, in your world, having to rely on somebody to take care of what needed to take care of because you're healing. I remember you used to come in here and 5 or 6 people used to pray around you. I remember there were times that I could see that look in your eye, that you were worried about it, and she would tell you, let's do this. Let's get it done. I think that the magic of the opposite of taking a bad situation into a positive is what the two of you shared. Good. I know it was bad, but it's the good side of what you got through.
Well, there's stories when people are shown x-rays of a cancer. Let's use cancer as an example. But they have this belief system, and they can go back to the doctor even as much as 2 days later, and there's no record of it. I mean, there are records, there are many, many cases if people look it up on the internet, because they had this belief system. I'm not always saying it happens as quick as that. And the doctors, they can't understand it, but they see it in black. They say, well, I don't know, it was some sort of a miracle. But it seems to happen to the people that have this belief system. Does it work all the time? No, it depends on the person, but just know if people are suffering, whatever illness, know that there is, your thoughts, change your thoughts about it. Don't say, I'm waking up tomorrow and I'm feeling bad. Because that's what your cells in your body, that's what you're telling yourself. Wake up and say, another beautiful day. I have no pain today. Believe it, because you have to believe it. Without that belief, it's not going to work. But if you truly wake up in the morning and you feel a little twinge, we all have it. We're getting older. Every one of us is older than they were yesterday, right? I'm okay. I'm doing good. I'm going to have a good day. And I use this even with myself. I'm getting older, and I might look for another line or something. Forget it. It doesn't matter. You are who you are. Be happy we're here. And little by little, you will experience less pain, less disease. Steve, you know me now quite a while. Yes, I did get the COVID and I got the neurovirus, but that's only over the last few years. I've gone most of my life, and I don't mind saying that. People say, oh, touch wood, don't say that. But I really have been disease-free. And I guess even when I didn't really understand this, I don't run to a doctor. I don't suggest that people don't do that, but that's my choice. I do not do that. I don't want to bring it to the forefront. And I've lasted a long time. So I do believe this. I do believe it.
With our situation, a positive attitude, a bottle of oxycodone, and as many soft-boiled eggs I would choke down as you would make me, and everything was fine.
Well, I was listening to Gaia yesterday. I don't often do this, listening to doctors talking, but they are amazing. This guy, I don't remember his name, but he was a pharmacist. And he went to alternative. And now he did say, and I like that too, he had knee surgery and the pain was bad. So he did take morphine because they offered it to him. But most of the time, very rarely did he ever touch a prescription drug. And I mean, he's very well known, and he's a doctor, and he talked. And what he said to me, even though I know I don't know everything by any means, but the way that he started to talk about how he's been helping people, and his following is tremendous of people. I'm not saying, I don't even really shouldn't say this, don't take prescription drugs. He even said, yes, there are times when you need them, but believe your body can heal itself. However you do that, just believe that it can heal itself no matter what. But the more you keep saying it, the same with any situation, this is going to go wrong, I'm having a bad day, that's what the universe and your body is hearing. So why not, even if you don't believe it, do it, see what happens. But you have to, somewhere in your core, believe that it is working.
All right, why don't we get off of illness? Freddie, do you have another question for Sally?
Yes, and Rachel, just hang in there and believe in yourself. That's the first antidote to relationships, which are always
And is
a
it
common
Rachel
problem.
that doesn't want to leave the house? Was it?
Well, she has anxiety and fear. I'm just saying that there are recent setbacks in her relationship, and she wants to know how to
Talk it
overcome.
out. I do believe very much in talking out. If you've got friends or if you go to a therapist, which I had just said, talk it out. It's like you're relieving your burden a little bit. I mean, sometimes it doesn't work for some people, and sometimes the people that you're talking to can also get into that state of mind. But in a spiritual level, on a higher vibration, see what you can do. And if that doesn't work, by all means, I suggest you see a therapist.
Now, a lot of these questions are, and like I said, it was difficult to put together. So Ethan Hall from Ohio wants to know what steps he can take to find meaning and fulfillment in his life, meaning that he sees life being the problem, which is a big generalized point.
That life is the problem. Yeah, but life is what you make it, Freddie. If you wake up in the morning again, and I sound like Miss Positive here, but it does work, and you say, well, I'm going to work today. Okay, so go to work. Oh, I can't be bothered. I don't want to do this. I don't like my job. Well, yeah, it can be very stressful, but if you look at it count your blessings, have gratitude. That's really what we need, is gratitude for. So you're going to work. Is it giving you money? Is it paying your bills? Are you able to eat? Look at the other side of that and look at what you're doing, how it's rewarding you with gratitude. And I think that's very, very important to understand gratitude.
I think you have to appreciate more of what you have.
That's right. And that goes along with gratitude, because you can look around. It doesn't matter some people don't have a roof over their head too, but the thing is, if I have a look at the good things, that if it's a job, which many people do complain about their jobs, look what your job is giving you. Now, I'm not going to say stay in that job, but there might be a passion, and I believe if you follow your passion true and you're feeling happier about it, that works too. But take that and take the blessings from whatever your situation is and look around you, and it works.
Just turn on the news and see how many people are less fortunate than you are, and feel better about yourself.
Whatever it is, absolutely.
It becomes more of a depressive state.
Well, I was
Stay
going to
away
say
from the
that
TV.
too. Yes,
Okay.
but then, and that's really, it isn't necessarily the best example, because unfortunately, turn on a musical, and listen to that. An uplifting thing.
Okay, David Lee from New York. What spiritual practices can I adopt to cope with the stress of a recent business failure?
I'm sorry, the beginning part? Hi, David.
What spiritual practices can I adapt to cope with the stress of a recent business failure?
Well, Also, meditating helps too. Go into yourself, find a room, even if you meditate for just half an hour. Just sit in silence, get rid of the noise, get rid of the chatter. And eventually, the more you practice that, the more that you're going to raise your vibrational energy, because basically that's what we're doing. No matter what the situation is, to get out of it, we need to raise that vibration so that we're not stuck, what we now call, and I'm sure most of my listeners understand this, that we're in a 3D world that is going crazy right now. So we can kind of go up a little bit to get to the 4th dimension or 5th dimension. Of course, you've got to maybe read, if you're not quite sure what I'm talking about, read spiritual books that will show you that there is a different way to live. There is definitely a different way to live. So raise your vibrational energy through, I recommend, meditation.
You know, you and I had a situation, not a situation, a circumstance, and we could go all the way downhill pretty quickly. But if you actually break it up and you can find the positive of something in it, you realize there is a positive to probably every situation somehow. Even when we moved here, we had lost everything. But we came here and turned it into a positive. But at the time, you don't know it.
You don't, and that's a very good example.
You don't
Dawn.
know it at the time, because at the time, you're just trying to keep your head above water in the negative situation, even when somebody's sick. But even when I lost my dad as a negative situation, the positive is the legacy that he left.
Exactly. You don't normally, you don't see it as you're right in the midst of it.
Right.
But if you can just even listen to what we're talking about and think, well, you know what, something's going to happen, believe it. Just the main thing is to believe that you can change it. You can change anything. It's all your mind. Your mind will, and we can materialize things. But if you don't believe it, it's not going to happen. You have to truly believe that there's something greater than ourselves and guides, no matter what your religion, God, however you want. There is more people or powers that work for you. It's very important that.
But I think when people are tired or they don't feel well or they're constantly being pushed and pushed by the universe or whatever it is to come out of your comfort zone, that's when it's hardest to keep the faith, because you're tired and it's just running you down. But in your heart, you know it's there, but you just can't keep up with the physical world. There's the 2 worlds we talk about all the time.
And there definitely is. But the more, if you just can see that you're getting deeper and deeper into a hole, because if you continue with that, you get more you're tired,
Sure.
You get more tired. I can't sleep, and I'm guilty of that. I
Yes.
say I'm not going to hope I can sleep tonight. I'm going to sleep. I'm going to get enough sleep that I need. Be positive about it. Try it, at least try it. But deep down, please believe that it is going to work, because if you turn around and say, well, I'm going to do this, but it's not going to work, you'll see it won't work.
To David Lee from New York with a business failure, you didn't fail in life altogether. There will be the next opportunity, and you have to make it happen, because there are people that make things happen. There are people that watch things happen, and don't be the person that stands around and say, what happened?
Perfect. That was perfect, David. Well, I wish you, I hope this show helps. It goes to a lot of people.
You gotta look at it positively.
Absolutely, and there's a lot of people out there with the situations that you're calling in about, with the same situations.
Well, everybody has the sense of fear, and they have the sense of failure. And it seems to me that those two senses are bigger than self-belief.
Yeah.
If we spent the same amount of energy on our positive selves that we do on our negative selves, I think the world would be a different place. When I met you 14 years ago and asked you to come work, I didn't hear from you for 4 years. Now, if you add the number of hours and the days and the minutes that go to that, and at the end of this thing, she comes on, and then you were to ask her today, were you the same person you were 14 years ago that you are today?
Absolutely.
And you're
not.
going to say no, and I'm going to say yes, you are.
Really?
Because you are. See, the problem is that we don't see ourselves. You see yourself clearer. It doesn't mean that back then you aren't the same person that you are today. You may be better at it. You may be better at looking at yourself, but it's what happens when you take a little positivity, and it goes a long way. And I think that that's the point that Sally's trying to do. This is tough because there are
Yeah, it
so
is.
many instances. failures of jobs,
Yeah.
relationship. You know,
But I
it's-
think the common theme, though, runs with each person, no matter what their situation is to have that positive attitude. Know that basically you can get out of this situation, but the more that you think you can't, no matter what it is, losing a business, losing the other, a husband or a wife or whatever, there is a way to change it if you believe it. And I think no matter, with all the questions, basically is a very similar answer to each one of them. Is to try in the beginning to be and take a positive attitude. Say, a good thing is, and I also do this too, there must be a reason why this is happening to me. I don't want it, voice it. I don't want this to happen. It's not happening now. Even if it's still, you're going through it, talk to yourself as if it's already okay. And that lifts up that vibrational energy. The universe hears what you're putting out. Words are very powerful too. Words are very powerful. So if you continually, and it's certainly with illness, I have this or I have that, you're going to get more of what you already have. If you say it's going to go away, well, I don't want to say don't go to doctors. Of course I'm not saying that. But believe that no matter it's a doctor, alternative medicine, whoever you're talking to about it, is helping you, because you're going to help yourself in the process of helping you.
I have to stay positive.
Yeah. So I think even though the questions are more many, I think basically the theme would be the same. It's not the same questions, but different situations. We're humans in this big mess. We have all these things.
Yeah.
But people may say, Sally, you're connected to a higher plane. You hear messages from the other side. That doesn't mean negative things don't happen to you in this physical world or those that you love around you.
Yes, it happens, but we're also chose to be here, Dawn, and we're on a learning journey. So if everything was okay, but it helps when you believe this way, because life is not always okay. We have problems. We've come here to solve those problems and get over that and experience that. If you start to believe that this is a journey and we can change it, because if it's a learning journey, which I truthfully believe, and many people say that this is a school, and it's a very difficult school, you're going to have problems, because if everything was okay and all right, what are we learning? We're not learning anything. So we actually put that negativity into our path, depending on where we are in this life, with your spirituality, with the religion, whatever you choose to help you through this. Choose it and know that you're all right. There's no people that you read people's stories, no matter what religion they are or spirituality, they don't always say continue to be depressed. If you ask someone, think about it. The advice is, and they'll give you advices how not to be depressed. Because if someone, and that's why I mentioned the doctor, if you tell somebody, and this is not a criticism on doctors, because that's what they're trained to do, you have 5, 6, 7 months to live or a year to live, well, you take it. Oh, okay, I'm not going to get better. Your doctor didn't say that to you.
No.
He said to you, we're going to work through this and you're going to get better. Right. So already, without me saying anything, someone's told you in your belief that you're going to get better. You're going to overcome this. Isn't it better to say that than,
Did you feel better
Steve,
when the doctor said that?
Absolutely. I mean, I had tears of joy when he said that.
I have a feeling that when you go home and you have somebody who's in your corner, it just heightens that whole thing to another level. Because I went through an incident. It was on her 50th birthday that I got very, very ill. And the doctors told Linda and my sons, he's not leaving. So get his stuff in order. And you remember that day. And it was that support system that I had that I said, no, I'm not gonna, I made a deal with God. I'm not ready yet. Give me another whatever. And let me do what I have to finish doing. So the support system with the good news is a good mixture. And I'm glad that you're okay, because that's really, 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 really important to a lot of people. You and a lot of other friends that you have.
Thank you.
I think that in itself is the lesson learned from a negative to a
100%,
positive.
because I don't want to keep talking about my daughter because I feel uncomfortable doing that, but when you tell somebody you only have a few months to live, that's what
It's a
their
tough
belief
life.
system is telling them. And especially if you can, they give it kind of the month. Now, they have their own reasons for doing that. They can't tell you, you know, if they feel that you're going to just say, well, we'll do the best we can and we're going to make you better. Okay, even if it doesn't work and they don't get better, but at least they have something to cling to.
Whether
And
it's in regards to health or it's in regards to business, at the risk of sounding too cliche, if you think you can or if you think you can't, you're right.
Yes, that sums it up completely on this topic.
Absolutely.
Actually, absolutely, 100%.
Ching Ching Chong, celebrating I think his 82nd birthday, and she gets 79. Ching Ching Chong were never ever supposed to make it, and they're millionaires. And the funny thing is that when they asked Chong what he was missing about life, he says, you start out work as a hobby, and you turn it into a job, and then it turns into a career, and then it becomes a legacy. He says you can't buy time back. That's the one
That's
thing
right.
he regrets. He says you got to live life to its fullest. And when they tell you you're sick, do something else, and the pain goes away until it's time to go home.
Absolutely.
We're going to take a commercial break.
Commercial break.
See you back on the other side of this show.
Commercial break.
Commercial break.
A true story, Call Me Zena, is the telling of Sally Bernard. Born in London, England at the end of the Second World War, she came into the U.S. in 1979. A mother of 2 and a grandmother of 4, she settled in Florida and worked in real estate. While going through a difficult time in her life, she was admitted into a hospital overnight in December of 2005. While settling back into her life, she began having vivid dreams and documenting them. By the 3rd dream, a lady gave her a message to draw. With no artistic background or interest into art or history, Sally listened to her dreams and grabbed a paper and crayons. Today, she has over 150 pieces of inspiring art and poetry. This book follows her journey and interpretations of these messages. She describes in detail on how she is able to astral a project and who she has met along her travels, including her spirit guides. This book will show you how anything is possible with an open mind. These events have changed Sally's life and direction, and this book will show you how to change yours. Purchase Call Me Zena on Amazon today, authorhouse.com and amazon.com.
Thank you for joining me through this journey of self-discovery with the help of my spirit guides. I'm Sally Bernard, and you can find my book at authorhouse and amazon.com or visit my art on my clothing in my boutique at artbysallybernard.com. Now back to the show. Hi, welcome back to my show. We were just saying, we were talking about my clothing. I think you showed it on the previous show.
I'm going to show it because I want people to see this.
Right.
You can go to artbysallybernard.com and look at these incredible pieces. These are some of the longer sleeve shirts that work great for workouts.
I can hold some up, actually, if you want. I'll take that one.
It works great for workout as you roll into fall and winter. It's a great shirt to line with. If you're cold, like I always am, I always like to keep them in my car so I can run into a restaurant and pop something on, and it's really nice and colorful. And what's so great about your artwork is it's really your artwork on clothing.
It's my artwork, yes. And I really just, if you go into artbysallybernard.com, you'll see a lot of these. I have jogging pants, I have shoes, we have shorts.
This is another one of the shirts, which is fantastic.
So
what else do we have? I know Freddie loves the black and white.
Yeah, a lot of people are really loving that. We're going to have a black and white collection of the tops that match with it, the sweaters, even the hoodies, actually. Dresses. There's another black and white.
And you have
one.
men's clothing as well, correct?
Yes. Well, men, actually, they like the black and white. So.
The men's
Look at this, and
clothing
when
is
it moves,
Yes,
you can see
yeah,
it. It just looks like the depth. And Sally, did you do this with ink,
No, I did it
with paint,
with paint.
to get these
And
lines so
also,
perfectly?
I never.
You don't use a straight edge or anything?
Nothing. I do nothing. It just, I can have my eyes closed, and it comes to me the same way, basically, Dawn, as I do this show. I don't know. I can have a piece of canvas there, and even with the lines, you've seen it, Steve. I don't know. It's when I look and I come out of whatever I am, and I look at it, I know I painted it.
If you look closely at some of Sally's artwork, the intricacy of
That's
it,
the amazing
Yeah, I know.
thing.
and it's all freehand. It's not done with rulers or protractors or anything.
You look at the detail of these lines. that these are all John freehand.
I know. In
are
fact, I will
beautiful.
have nearly a painting finished. I do it with the pen thing too, with the paint that comes out of
incredible.
it. I could be on a whole, finish the canvas nearly, and if I made a mistake, I can't correct it. So I never really ever make a mistake. I know that I'm not. I believe that I'm never going to, and I don't.
This is another
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
It's so beautiful.
I reached out to some people that we know that are gym buffs. The lady that sold us the insurance and some other Joy and some other people to see if they would take the products into different gyms.
Right.
And I sold it to them as energy worn is energy due. So it helps you be vibrant in the gym. So that's what some of the...
And it really does work. You know, I
It does.
talk
They're so
about that.
great.
And my energy is on there. Basically, that's the top. And we have the pants to match it too. Yeah. So it makes you feel good about yourself, because I believe we leave, that's actually another subject too. We do leave imprints of things. Even if you say you're sitting on a chair and someone who's been depressed on that chair, you get on the chair and feel that you're a little uncomfortable because we're energy. That's one of the pants doing, right?
That's so true.
Yeah.
Well, you got to feel good about yourself, and why not do it through color
And through
vibration?
clothing, I mean, my energy has gone into that. So, you know, not just for the paintwork. I think it does uplift you a lot. I know a lot of people are saying that.
You know, in the sports world, Steve, back in the 70s and the 80s, when Air Jordans
I don't
and
think they've got the
sneakers that cost $200, $300, $400, and kids wanted them because it made them feel like him, like their idols, like their superstars, right? It made them feel bigger, and the parents bought into it simply because if they can get their kids to get through school, if they can get them to behave better, why not? The money was something you found and you spent it on the kids.
And that's really what we're talking about. If you feel good about yourself, and that goes that if you don't feel good about it, even going to a hairdresser, or going to a spa. How many people say, go to a spa today? You suddenly change your feelings because you're being pampered. A vacation does that. I used to sell vacations, and I used to tell people take more, because in London, in England, they take a lot of vacations. Over here, they didn't. They seem to be doing a lot
Isn't
more
it funny
now.
that you used to sell vacations, now Steve sells vacations?
Yeah.
Did you meet that way?
We actually met
We
many
did.
years ago in the
Through
same
selling
industry.
vacations?
Yeah, I
met
didn't
about
stay
25
long.
years ago in
Anyway.
a vacation business.
So it was, but I used to talk, you know, because selling vacations, you have to be in a nut mood, no matter, and say, oh, you know, you think you may want to go on a vacation, and they helped you, and I've just come back. But it does, it's all to do with changing your mindset, your mood.
You
So
can't be a depressed vacation seller.
no, you can't.
No.
So I used to really, and it worked for me. I mean, I had problems then. I had a lot of problems and personally with things. But I remember my manager, and I used to work very well with him. He used to say, whatever you have, and a lot of people do this, out the door, there, leave it, come in and be who you are. And that used to work for me. I didn't completely understand why that worked, but I was selling a lot, and I left it outside the door. However, today I would have gone back and left it outside too. Those days I used to go home depressed again because I'd left it outside.
You pick
the
it
door.
back up.
Exactly, yeah.
Just one more time, though. How can people purchase your art on clothing?
I'm going to let
So
Dawn.
art by Sally Bernard, BARNARD.com. You can go into the whole gallery of clothing. You can also see her artwork there if you want to purchase any of the art. We have a lot of the art here at the studio, so
Yeah.
it's so great to see the art and then it on clothing. Kind of compare. I think it'd be a great game. Can you figure out which art goes with which clothing?
Perhaps we'll leave some in the studio too, so anybody that's local or around the Boca Raton area in Florida, or even as far people coming from Jupiter,
By the way,
right?
the
or down from
subheading
Maine.
is Sally's Clothing Boutique.
Yes, you go in and there you can actually feel the material, because that also people touch it.
It
and
feels
get
so
it.
good.
Yeah,
If you
it
want to come
does.
into the studio and you're in the area, you can see some of the samples here. They're just so soft and stretchy
Right.
and warm, and you can wear them to the beach right now because it's still super sunny out. You want to protect your skin and then throw it in the wash and then wear it with a pair of jeans.
And we
I mean,
have
it's
the shorts to match, and also
totally
the
versatile.
flip-flops.
Yeah, so versatile to do this with. And this is the medium.
Feel good, get some. That's what it
Yeah,
really comes down to.
it's all uplifting your spirit, and you think about it, and this is what the show really is about. The negativity uplift your spirit, and you're going to feel better even if things don't happen right away. As long as your attitude is making you feel better, put a smile on your face when you really don't maybe feel like smiling. But if you smile, the world smiles with you. That's that song, Smile. I'm not going to sing it because I have no voice.
Although your heart is breaking.
It's
Yes.
funny because sometimes I can be feeling so not myself, and I never even want to put a negative word out there. I'll even see it in the morning, and you'll say, "How are you?" And I'll just say, "I can't even put a word to it because I don't even want to put that word and that vibration
Exactly,
out there
Dawn, yeah.
because I know how I'm feeling." And to put it out there and label it doesn't really do anyone a whole lot of good. Then you start thinking about all the people that say negative things, and you become that. And that's something that I don't want to become.
And that's really what I was talking about earlier. It is so, so important. If you want a happy life, believe you're having a happy life, no matter what is happening. A smile in your face. I came to this country with nothing, basically. All I had was a smile on my face because everything was taken from me. And I smiled, and I got friends, and I said, this is working, I'm
That's
smiling.
so funny, the story you just told me and the story you told me earlier. Like, sometimes there's this karma
Yeah,
link,
there is. I just thought about that.
right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, genetic karma links, and it's up to someone in some generation to break that link.
Yep. Well, I hope I am a good example of
Yes.
that because I had, without going into my life story, although it is in my book partly, I had everything taken from me. From having everything, I lost everything through no fault of my own. I do want to say that. It was taken. But I pulled myself up because I used to say, how am I ever, I'm in a strange country. The only thing I had going for me is I could speak the language because if I hadn't, I don't know what would have happened. But I knew whoever I met, they'd say, how are you? What's going on today? I had to be, I didn't understand what I was doing, but I went forth with a smile on my face. And amazing things happened to me in the beginning. I found money. I brought that up before. There, I was on the beach in the water. I wanted breakfast. A $5 bill hit my leg. I didn't understand why it was happening, but I did know I had a smile on my face. So it works.
Isn't it funny, the same story?
Yes, yes. Yeah, what I was just telling you. Yes, yes. But it makes you, humility is very important and gratitude is very important. And I was very humble. It brought me down from where I may have been when I was in London to realize really what was happening to me in the world. And it wasn't pleasant, but I couldn't let that happen to me. And I was very grateful. I had a tiny little, the studio, it was a little tiny studio. It was just enough for a bed to, I'm not really here to tell my story because I don't usually talk personally. But I had a bed with a roof and a little kitchenette. But, it worked for me. And first time I saw a roach, oh my God, is this what they have in Florida? I'd never seen a roach before. I didn't even want to go back, but I said to myself, it's a little tiny roach, don't worry about it. This is Florida. So I went back and I cooked a meal, not knowing what I had ahead of me because it wasn't good. It was very tough, especially when you've had a lot. But today, and I often say, if that had not have happened to me, would I have the gratitude that I have today? Would I have found the spirituality? I'm not alone. Many people are in the situation, and it's never been poor me. I have never said that. But as you get older, you kind of do look at some of the situations that fall upon you in your earlier life. And hopefully we grow from each one of those, no matter what age we are, from a child to an adult to an older lady or man. If we can grow out of that and appreciate it and have gratitude, you're halfway there.
Do you think there's one universal message, because everyone has different lessons, one universal message that people should learn or do learn as they go through life?
To believe in something, to believe in yourself and believe that there is a greater power working for you. If you're religious, your religion, believe in God, believe in anything that you want to, but believe that you are being helped. And that does help you. There is a power working for you. And within yourself, you have that power. So tune into it. Tune into it. What can the worst thing that can happen if you want something to happen that day and it doesn't happen? It may happen tomorrow. It will happen tomorrow or the next day. Believe that it will work for you. It will. We've chosen this, and that's another story that we can talk about. We choose our life, and we choose hardship sometimes to learn from it. And that's a very, very important lesson to understand, actually.
You have more questions?
She reminds me of when my father came over with $1.25. And when I got older, I asked Dad, $1.25, would you ever fearful that you were going to fail? And he said to me, there's nothing to fail except the belief in failure.
Love it.
He says, I'm just going to keep working. He says, I came to this country and they said, you want to work? He said, yeah. And he worked and he worked. He was a self-made man. And he says to me, that's why I don't want you. He never wanted me in construction. They want me in the paint. He says, I want you to show your kids that there is a different way. But my way, my father had a third grade education. Didn't speak English. So he came over without knowing the language. And he said, you can't, the only failure there is if you believe in the word. Otherwise, it's all good. Enjoy it.
That's so true, because you know what? Sometimes it's an advantage. I'm not saying it's pleasant. If you have nothing, because you've got nowhere else to go but up.
But up.
And that's what happened
Can't
to
go
me. I
any
had
further
nothing in a
down.
strange country with no friends. I knew no one.
And you can't walk around being envious of others.
Well, that's what I used to say to myself. Yes, I remember, again, it's not to talk about me, but I did have problems when I came here. I had no driver's license. I had my passport. I had no money, even if I'd had a bank account. I had no credit cards. I had nothing. And I remember I had a few dollars and I wanted to bank it. And I go to the bank and I see, just to show you that this does work, I see a lady in front of me. She opens her wallet. She's got the credit card, the driver's license, everything that I wanted. And I said to myself, I'm opening an account. I really didn't have an address. I had this little studio. But I said, you know what? I will have that, and I will be back with all these things, the driver's license, the identification. And I kept that in my mind, that picture of that lady with her wallet, with everything in it. No credit card. I couldn't work here. I was on a visa. But I had to stay. I knew that I had to go back to out of my country, to England every 6 months. But you know what? It worked. I kept that picture of everything in my wallet, and it's the first time I've ever really talked about that, in my mind. And today I have the driver's license, I have the credit card, I have everything that I need, because I worked for it. I worked very hard for it, but I worked with a smile.
For years, I was always looking for the shortcuts in life. And when I finally realized that it wasn't luck, it was the harder I worked, the luckier I would get. And I'm successful today because of that. It took me a while to grow up, but here I am.
Freddie always hates shortcuts, even here in the studio.
I learned a lesson that shortcuts can get you in a lot of trouble.
Yep.
You have to forget about the shortcuts and go through it. Go
You have
change it
to
as you go along. But
I totally agree, because you have to experience that, and through experience of that comes the positive attitude and comes the gratitude of what you've been able to. It was nothing here was handed to me. In England, yes, I didn't. You know, I came from a family where we didn't have problems with money, but when I came here, I had a different mindset. I didn't even know how to write a check out. Today, I have gratitude for actually putting a credit card on the table, that I'm able to make good of the money that has gone out. That's very important. Very important.
But you have to really believe that you can.
Yes.
And we have a joke in here: never tell me no, because if you tell me no, I'm going to send you home. And when you learn the word yes, it come back. So this morning, one of the new kids was saying, "Well, I'm not sure," and one of the kids said, "No, don't say that. They'll send you home. Here is yes, and figure it out." Because you always got to stay above the waterline.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't stay above the waterline, then go back home, sit down, think about it, and come back again. You got to believe. If you can't believe, then you're going to put yourself in shortcutville.
This is so true. I mean, we open the show this way, and you're closing the show this way, which is, it's so important to believe that you can, not that you can't. So often, oh, I can't do that, or, well, if I do it, what's going to happen? It's not going to get better. Say, you know, I can do that. And it's already getting better. Just with that thought, it's already getting better. It's very important. An illness, yes, you have to say to yourself, you really truthfully have to believe that you're okay. It's not just us. Words are how powerful, as you said. We have a lot of cells. For people, if they want to do any research on that, research that, and it's amazing. You know, because you're married to a doctor, and I did not know all this. I thought I knew it. My son studied medicine for a long time. It's not just us, our outside, it's what's inside of us, correct? And it's so important to see how we work, actually.
We can manifest from our words, and this happened to me so many times that I am so specific on what I say, every word. If you're in a negative word, because I know that could come to pass. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I've just learned that when I say never, it's when it happens.
Exactly.
So, you know, they say never say never. Never say never, because never is exactly what you're going to get.
And how wonderful, if you think about it. We did not know each other a few years ago.
No.
And if you think about it, Dawn, our whole belief system, everything that we do, and even, you know, my artwork is similar to when I first met you, you had seen it. We attract who we are. We definitely attract who we are. If I'm in front of a negative person today, I guess I've got to the age that I can do this. I'm out of my life. It's not in my life.
But think how many
But-
people your age and Steve's age have gone through what you've all gone through, and they're negative. How are you? And they give you a bad word. How they're feeling over and over again. In here, you guys sit through all the trials that you've both been through and things that we don't even know, and you still stay positive. And I think you lean on each other for positivity.
Well, it's sometimes a little difficult with Steve, with your pains and things. Just believe. No, I'm not talking about anything else. With your aches and pains, and you know, it's showing me that I'm doing my work by saying. And you even said to me the other day, "I'm not allowed to say that." You actually, and I was so proud of you. He, you know, you had a lot of pains. Today, if you go to say it to, you look at me, oh, I'm not meant to say that, am I? Absolutely no, you're not. You're not.
Well, you can say it, you just don't believe
It
it.
hurts me over here.
No, I want to, and you do that in a restaurant, and it makes me twinge because, you know, your words
You know-
are very powerful.
You know, Sally, life, the soul is like a cup of water. And if you can pour positivity into other people's cups, then you understand the game. You know, Michael Jordan used to say that if you can express positivity and love to somebody else and pour some water in their cup, then you understand the difference between when he says I have pain to having pain. He just wants somebody to say, that's okay, we're going to take care of that.
Exactly.
Sometimes you just want to hear something.
Exactly.
It's going to take you to that next level.
Absolutely.
But to believe it is to pour it. And if you can't pour it, then you don't believe it yet.
Yeah,
And when you finally believe that there's some greater power at work, and I'm not talking about religion, I'm talking about a belief that there is something else. I mean, your higher power could be this microphone, okay? But as long as you believe that there's a higher power at work, then believe in your path.
you know, and
you'll be
it's,
successful.
I'm not going to bring up necessarily the 12 steps of recovery, but I do understand a lot of the 12 steps of recovery. And if you think about it, so many people say what we're talking about now. Not everyone succeeds in that recovery program, but there is a percentage of people
I'm
that
not
follow
embarrassed
it.
to say I'm a compulsive gambler, and it's been 15
Want to make a bet?
years.
Want to make a bet?
That's a horrible thing to say.
You're over that.
Yeah,
all right?
no,
Yeah,
it's been 15 years
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
This November will be 15 years. And, you know, I look at that not as, oh, I can't believe I did that, but, okay, that was, what a learning experience that was. And, you know, I can move forward from that and help other people when and if I can.
But then the last step is a spiritual awakening.
Yeah.
So that's really what we're talking about, that spiritual awakening, right? And many people, not everyone recovers because they work the program. And this isn't a program show about the 10 steps of recovery, but that's a good indication of what they do in the 12 steps of recovery. It's a spirituality. It can be religion, it can be anything, but there is a higher power. If you believe in that, as you just said, Mike, or whatever, if you believe it, no matter what you believe is your higher power, you have a higher power, which I choose to call my higher self, because we all have that too. But it works. Work if you work it. That's what I believe they
Sally,
say.
we've got about 7 minutes.
Okay.
And I want people to be able to call in or ask questions because you are a psychic and you are a medium. Questions from any guides or anything that you see out there? I know you need questions.
Yeah, I need questions. I'm just going to say it. They're going, well, what do you want
She
to
needs
ask
questions.
me?
All right, so my guide, we can start. I know I've got many,
You do.
and I think they're all spinning because I can hear just noise in my head. Do they have any messages?
Well, recently, you don't mind me saying your father just passed away, and we did get some
We
really
did.
good messages, Dawn. And, you know, it's funny because I wasn't even aware that I hadn't had a question, and I didn't answer anything. But the moment that question comes through, I'm able to, and I am going to bring your father up because we've had proof in a lot of ways that he's still around. And the comfort that he is giving to people, and there will be signs and symbols from, it's just that right now they have, oh, I'm getting goosebumps. a resting period, he didn't take that resting period, which I told you in the beginning, and he was constantly giving you little signs, and your family. I believe that he's telling me, I'm stepping back for a little while, because although there's no time, but still continue to look at things. And you know, before he even passed, I gave you that message about the Star of David. And he's very grateful that that happened, because you know that will happen. You're going to put it there on his grave. But it's amazing. Just believe that your guides are around you, because it's a great help. Talk. You get messages when you talk. Talk to your dad or anybody else. Though he's saying, I just told you I'm resting. But that's okay. That's okay. Because what actually happens if you grieve somebody, and of course you grieve. I mean, I lost my daughter. I grieved. But I'm going to say in my world, in my belief, and a lot of people that are spiritual do believe this, is that if you continue to talk upset and walk around depressed about the person, it's nature, obviously, but they're happy. Absolutely, from everything I know. You don't hear them say, when I give messages or anybody else, and this is so true, I'm so happy to hear you because I miss you. They don't say that. Or I'm not feeling well today. This is the other side they're talking from. What psychic will say he's just said he's got a pain in his back? They don't say that. They say we're much better and we're feeling good. So if we can take from those messages the fact that they're okay, they are okay, and not walk around, because the more upset and depressed you are, of course, we're human and we don't know what's going on, they hang around more. But they're happy. But what more proof? Any psychic, I'm sure, that you've spoken to that has these messages is not going to give you a bad message from them from the other side. It's us that carries that burden of, missing them, which of course they do. But the more you're upset, they're more inclined to hang around you more, but they have work to do too. So if you can just look at, it's not easy, but to look at death as a passing, as a transition onto where we're going, for the time that we're not here and we come back. I do believe absolutely 100% for myself in reincarnation, and many people today do believe in this reincarnation. We're here to learn lessons, period. That's what it's all about. It's how we are when we start to learn lessons and how we accept it. So I don't know if that gave us a message, but I think that was a little bit from your father. The part about not grieving.
Then ask her, what is it that you feel?
About what?
About Dad passing on.
It's a loaded question.
Then unload it.
No, I mean, I think there's signs, and everyone, what I found interesting is my brother and sister have found different levels of awakening at different times.
Right.
So I feel like that's given them a different level of awakening that they may not have previously had.
Well,
so they now look for signs.
This is
But
true, and they may not, although they're beginning to look for signs, one may overtake the other slightly and get a little bit more, because that's where we are in life. It doesn't mean that they're not, the main thing is
Hold
to
on,
just
that's
believe.
not the question. Ask her the question.
Well, I think she wanted that on.
No, she's
to change it
stalling.
slightly.
We're
No,
not
but
talking
that's
about your
all
brother
right.
and sister. Talk about you. How do you feel?
But that's all right.
No, sometimes you got to push through in order to understand what you feel.
You know
Right?
the book
Freddie,
Going
she's
on a
also
Bear
got to
Hunt?
be ready.
You know the book
Trust
Going on a
you
Bear
me.
Hunt? You can't go over it. You can't go under it. You got to go through it.
You've got to go through it, Dawn.
That's
yes.
the Bear Hunt book.
Yes.
This is what we all have to do.
And we all react differently to stress, to problems, or to when someone passes. Each one of us, it's not a set rule how you're going to react. So if you've lost someone close to you, you're going to react. I mean, nobody says, well, I don't even want to say this, oh, I'm glad they died. I mean, you just don't do that. So sometimes it's good to bring forth your emotions, not you personally, maybe not on the show, but which I understand. I talk more about myself than I ever did just now. I wasn't intending to do that. But if the more we keep in ourselves, it's not a good thing. So I know that it is what it is, but talk about it.
It gets complicated.
I think that's what Freddie wanted to do.
Because different things happen. We got to go. We got to go. We got a minute left. Sally,
Yeah.
how do people get your book?
Okay, Amazon or
Author House.
Author House, and my art. There we go. Oh, it came up and it
Yeah.
went away. Art by Sally Bernard. I saw it come up on the screen. Yeah, it came up and went away. There we go. artbysallybernard.com. You can actually even buy my book there. You can also listen to the shows on there too. But if you want, or you want to tell people, because I get a lot of shares when people hear my show, go into YouTube. Please start going into YouTube so that I can get followers there, because the show will stay on YouTube.
It is crazy. Yes, I was dreaming about one of your paintings before I ever met you, and you walked in with it, and
Yes,
it was just
that's
unbelievably
correct. Yes.
crazy.
Yeah, yes.
So,
Yeah.
coincidence or not, it happens.
It happens. I mean, how does that happen? In our world as we know it, without all these things, it doesn't happen. But as you begin to know our world and what can happen, it happens.
It happens.
That was a good way to finish, right?
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Say
I'll
goodbye.
see you next week. Okay? Go into my website, and my book is there too. You have been watching Call Me Zena with your host, Sally Bernard. As an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer, know that you can always seek me out for resources by visiting artbysallybernard.com. Join us next week, Mondays at 2:30. Have a blessed day.